say, here go the car, because then I'm gonna be left stranded. And I damn sure ain't got the money to get back to you. But I get home and I'm like, bruh, what if this shit goes like further than it necessarily needs to? Well, that's what I get for speaking so hard. So I'm minding my business and I'm in Dallas driving one day. I get pulled over. Hold on, what was I doing? When I get pulled over, the officer comes up to the window. He's like, hey, do you know why I pulled you over? I'm like, no, sir. He said, your headlights wasn't on. I was like, oh, okay, well, I flicked them on. He was like, yeah, can I get your driver's license and your insurance? So at this point, I'm like, sure. So I pretend to start digging around and everything, because now I'm thinking, what if those people went to the police and they'd have gave them my name? The people that did their due diligence and they'd have found out who I was. So I'm like, well, sir, I think I left my driver's license at home, thinking he would just say, oh, okay, you got a warrant and just going on about your business. That clear cop was not happening. So he was like, all right, don't worry about it. Just give me your name and your date of birth. So I gave it to him, but I spelled my name completely wrong. I gave him my last name and I made my date of my birthday off just by a little. Of course, he go back and he do his job and he's like, hey, I can't find anything with that information. I'm like, well, I gave it to you correctly. I don't know what's going on. So he was like, just hold tight right here. He went back to his car. He was sitting in his car for about 5 minutes. He came back up. He said, is your name Sherelle S. Hodge? I was like, yes, sir. He said, your birthday 2/23/97? I said, yes, sir. Now, when she said big boy crime, I'm like, ain't no way I done murdered somebody. Yes, I'm dramatic. I was overthinking the whole situation. So I'm sitting here and I'm getting nervous, like nervous and guilt and anger, frustration, confusion. All of that was sitting in my stomach and I thought I was finna be sick. So we passing all the city lights. We going down dirt roads and shit. All I see is wood. I'm like, if a motherfucker try to escape out here, they gonna get their motherfucking ass ate. So after about 20-25 minutes of driving, we finally pull up. Boom, Bossier Max. There's barbed wire fence around the parking lot. Like, motherfucking free people can't even be free. So we get there, he scanned his little badge, the big old gate roll up. We drive in, he let the gate roll down, and he finally get out. He come around, she get out, she unsecure her little gun and everything, put it in the little locker that's on the side of the wall. He get me out of the car. Watch your step. I'm like, yeah, thank you. Clearly nervous as a motherfucker, because I ain't never seen this bitch before. So when we first walked in, I see a cell full of cells. And that's the cell that they sit there and take all the chains and stuff off. In Little Sterry, you had like this little, what do they call it? Sally port. Walk in, you put your hands on the wall, they take the chains off you, they pet you down, check your shoes and the socks. No. When you go in here, you going into a cell to wait for them to pull you out of a cell to put you in another cell to do all the cellular things. Now, the process going in there was actually a little bit faster. When I get in, the first thing I'm asking is, do I got a bond? It was like, we're going to get to it. We first got to process you in and get all the paperwork. We don't even know who you are. I'm like, yeah, y'all know who I am. Y'all know who I am. So I'm being sarcastic, trying to make light of the situation. The lady's like, go on over there and sit on the bench. I'm going to call you up in a second. I go sit down. I watch her tap on the computer. So now I'm sitting here like, damn, you're doing a lot of tapping. My name ain't that long. My address ain't that long. Like, what is it that you doing over there? Now, of course, I know that there's a process when it comes to being booked into jail, but this process with her was just seeming a little too extensive, a little too in-depth, as if she was letting a secret society know that the villain from Texas has arrived. So she called me up. Hodge, come over here. I get up, I walk over, she handed me a piece of paper. She was like, verify that all this information is correct. I don't give a fuck about none of that. I'm looking for my charge and the bond amount. So I'm sitting here pretending to read all the information that she put in. I look all the way down to the bottom and it says theft by deception with a bond of $20,000. I said, bro, what the fuck did I do? It's replaying in my head the whole situation of me thinking I was finessing somebody and getting away with it. And I'm like, but I only got it for $4,200. So why you got a $20,000 bond on me? I said, ma'am, what does theft by deception mean? She was like, well, you obviously did something and you made a person believe one thing and it didn't happen. And instantly it hit me. These motherfuckers done went to the police. I get it. It probably wasn't the dude. It was probably the lady who pressured them to do it. But it's Shreveport. Like, you motherfuckers really be out here doing some grimy shit. And y'all thought just because you got that you had to go to the police. But it's okay. We're going to get that back. So I'm sitting here now. My heart is in my shoes because I don't know nobody who the fuck gonna come get me. My mom doesn't have that type of money. And I don't have any friends that got that type of money to come and get me either. So now I'm traumatized and I'm scared. I'm like, Lord Jesus, I'm going to be in here forever. And these are my real thoughts. So I'm looking at the bond amount. I look up and I ask, I said, do you know any bond companies that'll come and get me? Like somebody preferably that'll allow me to pay them the money later. She's like, there's a list of bond companies over there. You can call them or whatever and figure out something with them. But you ain't even made it to that part yet. We got to get your fingerprints. I got to get you dressed out. And I got to get your picture. So I'm like, all right. So we get the fingerprint thing. And she rolling my fingers all over. She take my picture and she take me to the back to get dressed. So she was like, well, first I need you to shed everything that you got. But take it off one at a time and flip everything inside out. So I'm like, okay, you gonna sit here and watch me? Now, I know that they watch you. Mind you, I just came from another jail, but it was something particularly different about her. Like, she was big and stalky, as if she seen anything on me that looked good, she was gonna come over there and try to lick me or something. So I was a bit uncomfortable. But hey, I stripped naked. So after I stripped naked and I flipped everything down and she made sure that I had no contraband, shaking my hair and all of that, she turned around and she was like, I need you to squat down and cough 3 times. So after I'm done, she tells me that I need to do it again. So I cough again. I'm like, oh, okay. She said, that's another thing. That wig, it gotta come off. I said, now what made you think that I had a wig on? She bust out laughing so hard. She was like, I did rub my hands through there and I know what tracks feel like. And in your particular situation, the back part of yours is loose. I couldn't even say nothing. So she let me get dressed. She take me back out to the front. She give me a piece of paper. It got my PIN number, the little code, everything that I need in order to get on the phone. She said to dial local, all you have to do is just dial the area code. To dial long distance, I need you to hit 01 and then dial the area code. So I ain't had nobody to call. So I'm sitting here browsing through a list of bonds companies, people who don't know me, hoping that somebody could come and get me out of jail. I guess I was taking too long because the lady was like, Sherelle, you got to hurry up. I got to go ahead and get you to the back and we got to get that wig off. And I was just like, nah, my wig ain't going to come off. Like I don't have the products or nothing to take it off, trying to give an excuse because baby, what's under here? Don't nobody need to see. She was like, well, it got to come off some type of way. So what do you use? I was like, well, at home I use like a glue remover, knowing good and goddamn well, all I do is snatch that bitch off and then take alcohol and get the remaining glue residue. So she said, I'm quite sure somebody in the back that can help you take that wig off. So she gave me my mat, she gave me my roller bag, and she walked me to the back. She threw me in this pot, she closed the door, and the lady in the bubble was like, yeah, go to cell 37. I'm walking back there, minding my business, thinking I'm cute, still got my wig on. I start taking my mat and things out. The door that closed behind me opened back up. She's like, Hodge, come out. I ain't gonna lie, I kind of got happy because I thought I was finna go home. But instead, she was like, that wig, it gotta come off. I said, the lady in the front didn't make me take it off. Why you making me take it off? She said, that's contraband. I said, if it was contraband, she would have took off in the front. Clearly arguing with the lady because I'm thinking, like, if I argue with her, she's going to be like, you know what? Fuck it. Just go back into your cell. She said, you either take the wig off or you going to go in that single man cell. I looked over there. I'm like, it don't look too shabby. I'll take it. She rolled her eyes. Well, go back to that cell and get your stuff. It'll be open by the time you get back up here. I said, okay. I went down there and got my things and walked right back up there to that cell she was talking about. When she popped the cell, I walk in and instantly I regret it. But I go in anyways. I set my mat up and everything. She closed the door and I lay down. Now, I don't know what it is about jail, but when you get in, you just get automatically sleepy. And I slept for like the first 6 hours straight. When I woke up, I realized that everybody was out. The TV was on. People was using the phone. So I'm like, bitch, you ain't wake me up and let me know that I can use the phone? So I'm sitting there and I'm pressing the little button that they give you in the cell. She's like, yes, can I help you? I'm like, I was just trying to see if I can come out, interact with people, use the phone. She's like, no, you ain't want to take that wig off, so you got to stay in that single man cell. It's contraband. I told you that. I said, so I don't get to use the phone because I don't want to give y'all my wig? Ma'am, it's contraband. So if you come out here, you're going to have to take that wig off. So now she's talking to me like I'm slow or something, like I didn't hear her. I was strictly asking a question, like, are you telling me I do not have a right to use the phone because I won't give you my wig? Now, this is where my morals, my standards set in, and I had to bring them down to earth. She said, listen, if you take the wig off, then you can come out and interact with these people. If you don't, then you got to stay in there, and whatever happens, happens. So I give in immediately. I'm like, okay, you can have the wig. She said, okay, well, I'm going to let you out. Come directly up to that gate that you came into, and then somebody going to meet you out there, and they're going to get the wig off your head, and they're going to put it in your property. So I'm like, ugh, I'm cringing on the inside because what's under here, don't nobody need to see. So she popped the door. I come out, I go straight to where she told me to go, and the lady came and she snatched that bitch off. Literally snatched it off. And it was a black girl at that. But she did give me compliments before she did. She was like, girl, your hair is so pretty. And I hate to be doing this to you, but it's either this or you're going to be like in that cell. So she snatched it off and I can almost feel the cringe that came from her face when she saw what was under here. Now at the time it was really just braids. I didn't like the fact that my braids was real crusty and old and I was recycling the same braids for a very long time. But y'all know now the kid bald headed. Like I done shaved my head again. And yeah, it wasn't as bad, but it ain't as bad. It was bad. So when she do that, I have to build up the liquid courage to go back in there at the pod where all these people watch me walk in so beautiful and crispy to now walking in looking like somebody's great grandma off the 1927 plantation farm. So I looked up at the bubble and I'm like, so can I use the phone now? She was like, oh yeah, you can do whatever. And I'm going to move you back to cell 37 since you took that wig off. So I beeline straight to the phone. When I get to the phone, the only number I remember was Beasley Bail Bond. Now, I don't know why it struck me that would be a black bail bond company. But when I asked, she was like, Beasley, I was like, yes, ma'am, my name is Cheryl Hodge. I'm sitting here on a bond for $20,000, and I was just trying to see is there anybody that can come and get me. She said, well, do you have a co-signer? I said, honestly, ma'am, I don't. It's just me. But I have a little bit of money that I can give you. Clearly lying. Well, not entirely lying. I did have some money that I could give her. I know I didn't have $2,000. She was like, okay, call me back in just about 5 minutes. 5 minutes roll around, or maybe it was 3, maybe it was 2. Hell, it was probably 5 seconds. So I called her back. I was like, hey, this is Sherelle calling again, and I was trying to see, is there anyone that you can come and get me? She was like, yeah, you were the one that was telling me you ain't have a cosigner or nothing. I was like, yes, ma'am. She said, well, about how much money do you have? I said, I got about $750. She said, okay, well, I'm going to come and get you. When do you think you can have the rest of it? I said, honestly, I can get it to you when I get home. Now that that was the lie. Now she said, look, I'm going to come and get you, and I'm going to trust you that when you get home tomorrow, you're going to send me the rest of my money. Of course, I'm trying to get out of jail. Yes, ma'am. I promise I'm going to send it to you. You ain't got to worry about nothing. So she was like, listen, you far away. So it's going to take me about an hour and a half to get there. Once I get there, I got to do your paperwork. And then once they get the paperwork done, they still got to process you out. So it's not going to be no quick process. Do you hear me? I was like, yes, ma'am. I hear you. I'm just glad that you're coming to get me, trying to sound all humble and sincere. Now, granted, I was humble and sincere because, baby, I was not about to survive on that pea farm. So, Lord and behold, I'm sitting there, I'm interacting with people, I'm watching TV. There was a lady in there that I knew. And then, of course, the other girl that was in the cell 37 with me, she was crying because she had nobody to come and get her. Now I'm sitting here like, I don't finesse my way up out of here. I can't finesse both of us up out of here. Like, I love you, I don't know you, but listen, be strong, stay safe, and I'll see you on the other side. So after about an hour or 2, maybe 3 of mingling or whatever, they call my name and tell me to pack my stuff up. When I go to the front, I see the old, fragile old lady. I said, oh my God, I can't believe I'm sitting here about to try and finesse this old ass lady. I didn't care. I was ready to get out of jail. So after they process me out, put me back in my clothes, do my out fingerprints, which I've never seen that before. They see me out in this little hall next to her. She said, look, before you go free, I need you to fill out this paperwork. I was filling it out so fast, listing references that didn't even know me, let alone who was going to vouch for me if she ever needed to find me. So she said, do you got a ride? Because it's a long walk. I said, no, ma'am, but I'll figure it out, thinking I was just gonna bust that walk. But then I came to terms. Like, this long ass drive down here in this neck of the wood ass place, I'm gonna get my ass ate up by some hogs. She said, look, I can give you a ride back to the city. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, yes, ma'am, I can find my way from there. We get in the car, we having a conversation. She was like, look, I usually don't do this. I'm going out on a limb. I trust you. Just make sure you hold up your end of the bargain and we gonna be good. I'm like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You ain't got to worry about nothing. You got me. I got you. Like, we good. Knowing I was lying. I had no intentions of giving this woman no money. I wanted to get back home so I can go on a run, do whatever, and be out the way. Well, that didn't work like that. So she dropped me off on North Market in front of the Waffle House, in front of the Brookshires. If you know what that is, then you know what that is. She said, all right, Sherelle, I'm going to talk to you tomorrow to get the rest of that money. I'm like, yes, ma'am. You drive safe. Get home now. Like, I was genuinely wanting her to get home safe. Like, that part was pure. Now, my goal was to get my ass back to Texas and forget any of this ever exists, go on the run, do whatever. I just wanted to be out of the way. I'm not dealing with these people. But I wasn't so smart. So if you're going to use a bond company, you're trying to finesse them, why would you give them your exact address? Go check out my next story, getting snatched by the bounty hunters. Yo, it's wild.